Good evening and welcome to Orca News.
Headlines.
The guidelines for the COVID-19 vaccination process.
Congress sets a bill for infrastructure projects bill. Landova taking part in Earth Hour 2021.
And don't forget to spring forward to tomorrow's DST. President Limson has released COVID-19 vaccination guidelines. More to report from Paul.
Yes, Louis. President Limson on Friday has released the guidelines for the COVID-19 vaccination process. The order indicates the process for vaccination, when the vaccines will arrive, and be administered to certain individuals. The order possesses every individual may or may not receive the vaccine if one passes certain criteria. In the first phase of the vaccination process, medical healthcare workers are being prioritized in the vaccination process. Next would be the other staff in the medical establishment. The second phase would be the law enforcement officers, military, and the public service branch of the government, which includes the police force, all remaining other medical units, and firefighters in the fire department. The second phase will also include vulnerable groups such as potential COVID-19 patient contacts, yet limits the undergoing vaccination processes. The second phase excludes local government officials and other public worker entities. Likewise, the third phase would be the whole public sector, which includes government officials and public agency employees. The fourth phase would be all labor workers in the infrastructure, agriculture sectors, including the private sectors, which are therefore under the authority and supervision of the company or corporation to handle the vaccination process rollout. The fifth phase would be the common people such as senior citizens and housewives, excluding children and eligible persons. The last phase would be all the remaining people who are yet to receive the vaccine. This still excludes people who are ineligible to be inoculated. Those people who are having grave known medical conditions, critically ill patients, complications, severe allergies, and pregnant women. Children who are below 18 years old are also not yet allowed to receive the vaccine. The Executive Office will still redefine and modify the guidelines for further assessments. Louis?
Thank you, Paul.
Congress has proposed a bill on the planning of infrastructure projects in Picot City, Tudor, and Schottler for this year. Congress has still to reenact and put into plan the proposals and concerns of the area to be used. Mayors of the said places have already agreed to the proposed bill. Certain problems arise due to the excessive budget and uncontrolled use of gains for the projects. The said bill will be passed throughout Congress and through the President to be put into law. Here's our weather for tomorrow.
Tomorrow, don't forget to adjust your clocks forward from 1 a.m. into 2 a.m. Daylight saving time in most of Europe has already begun at Coordinated Universal Time 1 o'clock, which is at this hour, whereas Landova specifically follows at UTC 4 o'clock. This is where clocks are adjusted 1 hour ahead in order to realign the daylight time, in which during summer daylight begins to become longer and beginning to shift. This will be the second time Landova adapted to daylight saving time since last year. The Information Communications Science and Technology Department will be designing clocks that will automatically adjust through DST. Some devices are already adapting to daylight saving time.
Landova is taking part in Earth Hour 2021. More to report from Amanda.
This is the scene of Schottler and Plainsfield City turning their lights off at 8:30 in the evening. Candles were also lit up on the streets, signifying the means of conserving energy. Landova for the first time is taking part in the call for climate and wildlife protection with the Worldwide Fund for Nature, or WWF. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic, one of the goals of the said event is to try to recover nature, as simple as turning off our lights for an hour at 8:30 p.m. Due to increasing climate threats as well as the massive destruction to nature and wildlife, we are called to speak up for nature as the world embarks on another milestone. In today's Earth Hour, aims to increase awareness and spark global conversations on protecting nature, not only to combat the climate crisis but to ensure our health, happiness, prosperity, and even survival. From that, President Limson had declared a climate emergency in Landova last December in committing to take action for nature and the environment. This is Amanda Moore, reporting for Orca News.
And that's it for tonight's news. This is Louis Barnes.
And this is Maude Parkinson.
Reporting
For
for
Orca
News.
News.
Good evening, everyone.